And then this lockdown thing happened to all of us, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what's the timing for you obviously wasn't fantastic. What's lockdown been like for you? How have you needed to adjust your training and just the way you are living, just so that you can get through this lockdown, in one piece as an athlete?
Yeah, so I just want to give you a bit of background. So in 2016, I missed out on the Olympics due to injury. So that was a big disappointment for me. So I made a comeback in 2017, and I had an ankle operation, so it was quite a big setback in a sense. So so in 2017 I made a comeback. In 2018, as you mentioned, was my best year. So I was building up towards this pinnacle of Olympics, and that's the ultimate dream for any athlete in track and field, is to become an Olympian. So obviously this year it's a big year, and everything is almost like goals towards this year. And all of a sudden I found myself in a lockdown. And in the beginning of this year, I started my season for the first time in the indoors, and I broke the national record in the indoors. So everything was looking good, in a sense, on track. And all of a sudden now I'm here. But I have to be honest, like I've been disappointed at times, and it was almost a sense of loss in a sense, because now this was the time for our South African season. But also I realized that I'm not in control. And sometimes, even in this year, in the beginning of this year, I really wanted to make that step up and get that X factor out of somewhere, just because it's an Olympic year. And in a sense, I've really journeyed with God in this time to really give it back to Him. And this helped me to do that, because I just realized that I'm not in control, and that's okay, and that's a good thing, because it's a burden that I can give to Him again and say, Lord, yes, Olympics is big, yes, it's my dream, and you know that, and that is still in your hands, even though this is not my plan, because my picture looked different. I didn't picture myself in a lockdown where I have to sit at home. So obviously it's been a challenge. It's in the middle of my season. I did 2 races in South Africa, and now our entire South African season is cancelled. So that's not ideal, but I try to stay fit and just get perspective on everything, because as you mentioned earlier about Marion Jones and all those athletes, it can easily become an idol. It can easily become something that is too big on a pedestal in your life. And even though I know God and I know the Lord and I know what's good for me, it can still happen if we don't just ground ourselves in who we are and just remind ourselves that there's a bigger picture and there's a lot more meaning than just winning. It's yes, of course, winning is important, don't get me wrong, but it's not everything. Wow. So it's been a challenge, but I can also say that it's God has been journeying with me in a sense, and I've really got a lot of peace surrounding the Olympics, because I think I just let it go again, which is not a bad thing. It's like a relief in a sense as well.
Correct. And I suppose it's down to that old story of, understanding how sovereign God is at the end of the day, and almost placing that trust of our lives in His hands and taking it out of our own hands and saying, God, I have complete faith in you. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I trust you with my future.
Yeah, exactly. It's we think we know, and I'm very much of a picture person. Like, I've been dreaming about breaking the national record for 7-8 years until it happened, and I was envisioning it, and this was like the same for this year. I was envisioning 2020 Olympics, and now sometimes it doesn't look like your picture. And if I look back to my life, I wouldn't change a thing, because I could see God's hand in everything, and that gives me confidence to trust Him now, even though I'm honest, it's not always easy, because what is going to happen this year? Will it be a year where I'm not going to be able to compete in Europe because 80% of my competitions are in Europe, and I don't know. So those are questions that are going through my mind, and sometimes I worry about it. But then, yeah, I take it to God and ask Him to help me.
Thank you so much for this amazing discussion, Rikenette. It's lovely to know there are athletes out there behind all the ripped abs and the perfection that we see on the track. There's an amazing, also normal person behind all of that called Rikenette Steenkamp.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's just been an honor, and I hope that what I shared can maybe bless somebody out there.